How many bucket hats do you think I can make in the next 5 days? Because I need to make 6. And if you're wondering, this doesn't actually even count because I sewed this in wrong. Here's the deal. I'm going to the beach with my family next week, and we have exactly 5 days for me to make bucket hats
for the entire family.
So let's get started. Wow, that was a super chaotic intro, so let's try again. Hi, my name is BB, and I get up to general chaotic crafting here on YouTube. And in this video, I decided to put off a project my mom asked me to do months ago and do it the week before the beach trip. So the first thing I did was block interface all of my fabric. With interfacing, you can either cut out interfacing to iron to your individual pieces, or you can interface a whole section of fabric and then cut out your pieces. I decided to do that because I had so many pattern pieces to cut out. The pattern I'm using is in the link, and I'll list it above as well. About 2 bucket hats in, I realized I was severely understashed in my interfacing, and so made a trip to Joann's, but interfacing about 3 yards, I think, and 2 new fabrics that I didn't need. I ended up staying up late into the night watching a K-drama, and no, I definitely did not get emotional, and this is completely normal. Stop. Everything's fine. I'm not crying. You're crying. With all my pattern pieces cut out, it was time for assembly, and this is me trying to describe that to you. Good morning. This is this part of your hat, and this is this part of your hat. Basically, you take all those pieces that correspond, and you connect it right sides facing here and here.
That didn't really make sense.
Yeah, so she didn't know exactly what she was talking about, but essentially your bucket hats have 3 parts. You've got the top, you have the band, and you have the brim. And basically at this step, you're going to want to take both of the band pieces and connect them so they make a circle, and do the same with your brim pieces on your lining and on your main fabric so that you have created circles out of the brim and the band. They should look something like this massive pile right here, and then you'll need to snip off all of your thread and press open all of your seams. I spent the rest of this day finishing all of the brims of the pink bucket hats in a method that I learned in a class, but I would definitely recommend the method that I used later in this video. I also finished my K-drama this day. That's right, girl.
I'll find you again.
He will. It'll be great. I can't wait. Please. Finally. Anyways, this is what my bucket hats were looking like. I connected and finished the brim pieces with the lining and the outer fabric. I would not suggest doing this step at this point, but I was still following a method that I had learned in a class instead of the method that is linked below. After I had my brims finished, I had to connect the band and the top pieces, and I still couldn't remember what that was called. Rim parts.
What is the name of that in the pattern?
It's the band, if you were wondering. Anyways, at this point, you take the top of your hat and the band, and you connect them right sides facing, pin them where the notches are lining up, and run that through your sewing machine. I had to do this 6 times for both the lining and the outer facing, and at first I was pinning a lot, but I would actually suggest just pinning 4 times, and then kind of using your sewing machine to make sure that the fabric is matching up. That got me less gathers in the long run. And don't worry, even though I had finished my K-drama and it was day 3 out of 5 of this project and I had no bucket hats to show for it, I still got very distracted by a new show that I started. Kill him! Yes! I knew it! Wow. Despite all that distraction, I did get all 6 of those bucket hat lining and outer lining pieces done. We have only one final stitch to do for all of these hats, and it is the hardest one, and it is the one I messed up on my mom's hat that I already made. The brim piece that you already made, and then you put it right sides facing, so this side to this side. And this confusion that you're seeing right here is probably why I wouldn't recommend doing it this way, but I'm gonna let her finish explaining it. So we have right side of this with right side of this, so then we take the right side of this, the right side of this, and pin it together, and then sew all 3 of those layers together. It looks like a sandwich, and then you give yourself probably about an inch, and you can flip it all inside out, and it should look good. So let's try. I did manage to finish all 3 bucket hats this day with that method, and I asked my husband to set up the camera, and this is the angle we got. So let's move on. Good morning. I love when I get to wake up and say that the thing that I said to you yesterday wasn't as delusional and crazy as I thought it was, because we have 3 bucket hats.
They're not completely finished.
I still need to press all of them, and there is the hole that we turned from that I need to hand sew. But because I hate hand sewing, instead of finishing those 3 bucket hats, I decided to reconstruct my mom's bucket hat and start working on baby Stroud's. I also had a moment of realization that I probably should have thought about more. I don't think this can fit on my head. Wait.
Do I just have a tiny head?
This is an extra small. Yeah, so it's an adult extra small, but he's 5 weeks old. Let's not overthink this. But I honestly didn't think too hard about it. I spent the rest of the day making my own bucket hat and finishing that, and also finishing baby Stroud's bucket hat. And here you're witnessing thievery, as well as me and my husband getting distracted by a new show. I did end up chatting with him about the dilemma that this bucket hat was for a baby, but it fit me, and all he had to say was,
What's the radius of this?
I don't know. But all I did was laugh about it and then move on. Hi. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bucket hats. Granted,
None of them are done.
before I can move on to the fun part, I'm going to force myself to iron and hand sew all 6 of these. So let's start with ironing. So I did get to ironing and hand sewing all of those, and then I took a long break packing, going to the SF MoMA, and then later that night I got back to sewing. Hello. It's currently 7:55. Our flight leaves tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. and I am under some delusion that I can make my dad a bucket hat from start to finish before we leave. And I mean start to finish.
I've done nothing.
Let's get started because we really don't have time to waste. Okay, it's 8:34 and we have all of our pieces. Next, I'm going to assemble. I am going to do a different method where you don't have to do hand sewing. And I hate hand sewing. It's 10 p.m. and we have a bucket hat. Okay, see you at the beach. I didn't take too many pictures or videos at the beach because I was just enjoying spending time with people I live far away from, but everyone really enjoyed their bucket hats and that was awesome. And even though I can't show his face on the internet yet, baby Stroud easily has my whole heart, and this bucket hat, well, let's just say he'll grow into it. Thank you guys for watching, and please feel free to subscribe if you would like more crafting chaos. Bye!